Welcome to Rupp Arena, Lexington, Kentucky, for the championship game in women's basketball. The women of Troy, USC, going against the Lady Longhorns of Texas, and you're looking at the premier player in women's basketball, Cheryl Miller. She's carried the banner of the sport for 4 years, a 4-time All-American, today in her final appearance, seeking her 3rd NCAAA title in 4 years. Her opponents, the Texas Lady Longhorns, the #1 ranked team from the beginning of the season. And Texas trying to become the first NCAA team to go undefeated. They have dreamed of a national title for 3 years. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Bender, and welcome on this Easter Sunday. Women's basketball has just been growing impressively. And one of the reasons, the lady that's working with me today, who's worked very closely with women's basketball, Mimi Griffin. Mimi was a fine player at the University of Pittsburgh and our expert analyst today. Mimi, I would think that this game today is a dream matchup. What a game to have for women's basketball.
Gary, this game today will showcase the #1 team, Texas, and Cheryl Miller of USC, the #1 player in the nation. Both Texas and USC have similar styles of play. They run a transition offense and a full court pressure defense. We're going to have an exciting game.
Mimi, we hear so much about Cheryl Miller, her offensive ability, but today she has a very difficult defensive assignment.
Coach Linda Sharp of USC told us that Cheryl will be guarding Beverly Williams. This Texas team is so balanced, it's hard to key on one player, but Linda Sharp feels that Beverly is their offensive spark and wants to take her out of the game early.
You know, Texas has had so many good things this year, but they're an inside and outside team. Fran Harris, her outside shooter, and this freshman sensation, Clarissa Davis, inside.
Fran Harris is so good in her perimeter shooting that she has the green light to shoot the ball anywhere on the court. Clarissa Davis is only a freshman, doesn't even start for this team, and yet is their second leading scorer.
I'm looking forward to it. Texas, USC. We'll be back with the introduction of the starting lineups from here in Rupp Arena in just a moment.
Can happen anytime. When you work for Hewlett-Packard, you don't just sell business computing systems, you solve problems. So when you have an idea, you do something about it. You never stop asking, what if?
You know that electronic mail project for the bank? What if we used HP Message?
You know, I love everything about this car.
New Chevy Nova. It's a lot more than you'd expect for the price.
It's a darn good car for the money.
Well, you sold me.
And I really like the way it's built.
Oh, it really moves.
95% of Chevy Nova owners would recommend their new Nova to a friend.
There's so much room.
I thought you'd like it.
And it doesn't cost much to keep it filled either.
New Nova.
It's a lot more than you'd expect for the price.
Drive today, Chevy. Live today, Chevy.
Nova.
Working hands, helping hands, hands that got to boogie along. At McDonald's, our hands are busy too.
Busy making
the biscuits for you.
McDonald's buttermilk biscuit sandwiches, sizzling sausage or bacon, a fresh egg, and melted cheese.
They're taking breakfast by the hand all over the land. It's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's.
Fresh baked biscuits, our way of lending a hand.
For the national title, USC and Texas. The coach of USC is Linda Sharp. In her 9th year, she's won 2 national titles, that in '83 and '84. She played at Fullerton State, and she said that we're not expected to win today, and she feels as an end result, her women of Troy have an added edge. Her opponent for Texas, her counterpart, is Jody Conrad, the National Coach of the Year, the winningest female coach in America. She's had 7 30-win seasons, including this year of 33-0. She grew up in Goldthwaite, Texas, a population of 1,783. And now we're ready for the introduction of our teams. The PA announcer is Jim Engel.
National championship game between the University of Southern California women of Troy and the University of Texas Lady Longhorns. Now let's meet today's starting lineups. At forward for the University of Southern California, a 6-foot sophomore from Santa Barbara, California, number 23, Holly Ford. At forward for the University of Texas, the 6'2 junior from Moscow, Idaho, number 25, Andrea Lloyd. At forward for the University of Southern California, a 6'3 senior from Riverside, California, number 31, Cheryl Miller. At forward for the University of Texas, a 6-foot senior from Dallas, Texas, number 20, Fran Harris. At center for the University of Southern California, a 6'3 freshman from Altadena, California, number 32, Sherry Nelson. At center for the University of Texas, a 5'11 senior from Bay City, Texas, number 15, Annette Smith. At guard for the University of Southern California, a 5'9 senior from Los Angeles, California, number 44, Cynthia Cooper. At guard for the University of Texas, a 5'8 sophomore from Del Valle, Texas, number 10, Beverly Williams. At guard for the University of Southern California, a 5'5 junior from the Bronx, New York, number 21, Rhonda Wyndham. At guard for the University of Texas, a 5'5 senior from Lubbock, Texas, number 33, Cammie Etheridge. In her 9th year from the University of Southern California, the head coach of the Women of Troy, Linda Sharp. In her 10th year with the University of Texas, the head coach of the Lady Longhorns, Jody Conrad.
And so the stage is set. Texas, USC, Texas seeding their first title ever.
Let's face it, I have a big appetite for life, and I don't want anyone telling me how to live it. The world is my oyster. That's why I carry MasterCard. It opens up all the possibilities and puts me in the driver's seat. Imagine all of life's possibilities with a great one at the wheel.
No cazzo.
Thank you. MasterCard. Oh, sweet it is. MasterCard. Master the possibilities.
Every day, more Americans work with Chevys than any other truck.
Up early, USA. There's a lot of work you gotta do every day. And when push comes to shove, nothing works like a Chevy truck.
That's been true for the past 50 years combined, and still true today. More people bought Chevys this past year than any other truck.
Nothing works like a Chevy. Oh yeah, Chevy truck.
USC and Texas for the national championship. We should point out that there are some different rules in women's basketball. They have a 30-second shot clock as opposed to the men's 45. There's no 10-second timeline, no possession error. They'll jump all of them up, and the coaches do not have to remain in the coaching boxes. The other meeting this year between these two is December 10th. Texas won that 94-78, even though Cheryl Miller had 31 points in that game. Cheryl will go up at center circle against Annette Smith. Annette Smith is 5'11", Cheryl Miller at 6'3", and this one's underway. Holly Ford gets it off to Rhonda Wyndham.
Gary, you're going to see Texas here in their traditional man-to-man defense. I expect them to stay in that the entire game.
We'll try to set these names and numbers for you. This is Rhonda Wyndham, number 21 out of the Bronx, off to Cynthia Cooper, 44. Cooper gives it off to Cheryl Miller, and she needs no introduction, and she's fouled by Annette Smith. And maybe I question, can Annette stay with her? As you know, she has the bad left knee. Can she stay with Cheryl Miller?
What Annette lacks in physical capabilities because of that knee injury, Gary, she makes up for in smarts. She is one of the smartest defensive players on the floor today.
So Cheryl Miller will test anybody, and Annette has that challenge today. She'll have 2 free throws coming. Cheryl averaging over 26 points a game this season. And she's playing with a broken finger on her left hand, the ring finger on her left hand, and it gives her considerable difficulty. And Mimi gives her more problems defensively than offensively.
They've had to shift Cheryl defensively to the right side for right anticipation instead of left, because anytime the ball hits her finger, she's smart.
Here is Beverly Williams. We talked about the fact Cheryl will try to pick her up. Fran Harris, she is the outside shooter that is so effective. She played so well against Western Kentucky in that outside zone. Beverly Williams. And Beverly Williams starts Texas out and ties it up at 2.
And Linda Sharp was correct in her assumption that Beverly Williams is an offensive spark.
She makes things happen out there. She's the catalyst. Here is Wyndham looking inside to Cynthia Cooper. Cooper will try one from the free throw line, and it's rebounded by Holly Ford, but we're going to have a pushing foul on Sherry Nelson. Nelson is the freshman who's matured and come on so well for Linda Sharp.
She didn't start earlier in this season, but she played so well towards the middle that she earned herself a starting berth, Gary. Here you can see the shot go up. Positioning was bad in that case. She should not have gone after that rebound and drew the foul instead.
Jody Conrad told us that the boards are so important in this game, and they started out doing a good job on the defensive boards there. Here's Annette Smith. She'll kick it off to Harris, and Harris deadly from outside misses that. Annette Smith, and a fine spinning move by the senior at 5'11".
Gary, look how quick she is. That's the thing. She's 5'11", but she can play center because of the quickness.
She's considered to be the best little center in women's basketball. Here is Wyndham at the other end. Andrea Lloyd tips it out to Beverly Williams. Williams is just a sophomore out of the Valley, Texas, a suburb of Dallas, and you're going to hear a lot about her in the next 2 years. Andrea Lloyd has been playing with a bad knee. She's going to have arthroscopic surgery after the season is over. And it's tipped out of bounds, and Texas will reload at the 18-18 mark. 4-2 Texas with the lead.
USC is in their man-to-man defense. The last time they played, they started out in a zone, and it was not very effective.
Linda Sharp, many people feel she may be the next Olympic coach in 1988. Here is Fran Harris. Harris out of Dallas, moving inside, and the 6-foot senior who averaged 13.5 points a game has given Texas a 4-point lead.
The seniors for this Texas squad were relatively quiet Friday night, but I guarantee you tonight they're going to have a great game.
Cheryl Miller gets it inside to Sherry Nelson, stripped momentarily by Harris, and Nelson with a flat shot, and here comes Cammie Etheridge. She is so creative in the open floor. She's the point guard extraordinaire. Here is Fran Harris. You can't leave her open like that.
And this is what Texas does so well. They put pressure on you offensively as well as defensively. They'll push the ball up every time. Texas
has jumped to a 6-point lead. Cynthia Cooper brings it down. I get the feeling USC is really forcing some things. They're not very patient offensively. Etheridge jumping out on Wyndham. She's only 5'5" from the Bronx. Here's Cynthia Cooper, and her drive. The basket will count, and she is fouled. So Cooper cuts it to 4 and has a chance for a 3-point play.
That was a key move by Cynthia Cooper, because not only was it a basket, but it also gives USC a chance to settle themselves down. Texas has had a fast start here. You can see Cynthia's good move, and she draws the foul as well. Maybe this will give her USC teammates a chance to catch their breath and regroup.
And so the foul sends Cooper to the line. Foul going against Beverly Williams, her first. Cynthia Cooper was out of basketball because of personal reasons. She had to help her family financially. She's come back this season, has been so integral in the success of the women of Troy. She goes for the steal there. She grew up in the Watts area, went to Locke High School in Los Angeles. 8-5, Texas. Here's Cammie. She's so much fun to watch outside. She is the leader of this team. Make no mistake about it. She will not score that much, but she will create the opportunities for her teammates. Andrea Lloyd, an outstanding rebounder. And it goes to Harris again. Cheryl Miller on her now, and Harris is not intimidated at all. She already has 6 points.
This is a great sign for the Texas team. They are attacking them early on the inside. They want to establish that inside game right off the start.
Well, you said this would be full court up and down, and it has been that. Fast-paced ball game. Here's Cheryl Miller using a pick by Holly Ford. Can't get it, gets her own rebound, and loses it. Annette Smith has got it. Out it comes to Cammie Etheridge. And it goes to Harris, and it's going to be touched last by Cynthia Cooper. It'll be Texas's basketball. Let's look now. Early, USC having difficulty, 1 of 5. Again, though, I just don't feel like they've settled down in this game yet.
No, they haven't, Gary. The nerves on the USC team are definitely evident by that shooting percentage. Texas, on the other hand, They're making shots like that. They're not nervous at all.
Boy, Beverly Williams is some talent as she drives inside. She has 4 points, 12-5. Texas at the 16-17 mark of this first half. Wyndham, they call her the E.F. Hutton on the team. When she talks, everybody stops and listens. He's not very big at 5'5", but she has great personality. Conrad is indicating 3 seconds in the lane. She wanted that call, and we're going to have a foul on Andrea Lloyd, the junior out of Moscow, Idaho.
Andrea Lloyd is going to be a key to this game tonight. She was a key in their previous meeting, Gary. She has not been playing well because her timing is off with that knee injury. But this is the last game of the season. I don't think she's going to let that knee bother her at all. Texas has great depth. We'll see a lot of players before this game is over. Up it comes to Cooper. Cooper with Williams in front of her, but Cynthia Cooper hits it, and it's 12-7 now Texas. I would think it would be tough to pressure Texas with Etheridge handling the ball. She gives it off now to Andrea Lloyd. It's not just Etheridge. Every player on this team can handle the ball, and that's what makes them so effective, breaking any kind of pressure that is put on them. Beverly Williams on the other end of the court. She plays so well defensively. Here is Lloyd. Beautiful pass inside, and a change shot that time by Harris, and a foul is spotted inside. We've had some very creative efforts by Harris and Williams as they ducked inside. Let's look at it again. Their inside game is so important to them, and you can see here why. Fran Harris cuts across the key, goes right up, is not intimidated by any action that's coming at her, and the offensive boards, they are just doing a very fine job right now. That foul was on Sherry Nelson, by the way. Her second as Annette Smith misses. Here comes Cooper. Cooper ducking inside, follows her own shot. Beautiful second effort by Cynthia Cooper. Pac West. She's had 26 points on 2 different occasions. And Cynthia Cooper has 7 of USC's 9 points as they trail 12-9. Cheryl Miller thus far hasn't really acquitted herself in this game. One of the things that'll be careful to watch as we go on into the game. Let's see how many of USC players contribute. They need everyone in there. Cheryl that time made them change the shot and comes down to the rebound. Cooper again from outside, and we're going to have another foul. Bob Olson, one of the officials, indicating the foul. Linda Sharp's team got off very shaky, but she didn't seem to be all that concerned. Maybe she knows the personality of her team. When you have a transition team, Gary, a spark is all you need to get yourself going, and when that spark occurs, then they can come back from a deficit like they were. And so we're going to have a break in the action. 14:48 to go in this first half. The Longhorns by 3.
No. You've been here 3 weeks waiting for Hallie's Comet? Yep, and I already started celebrating with a Cole Miller Lite. Light tastes great. Light's less filling too, Tommy, and I can't get filled up. I've been waiting all my life to spot this baby. Well, how about one for me? Sure. Incredible. What was? Nothing, Luke. Listen, I gotta run. Okay, but you're gonna miss it. Nope.
Wherever you look, there's only one light beer. Miller Lite.
People have the security of healthcare coverage when and where they need it. They couldn't picture their lives without it. Could you?
It's Katharine Hepburn and Mrs. Delafield Wants to Marry.
She's older than you are. He could always finish high school later.
Tonight.
Isn't life delicious?
Texas leading by 3, 12-9, and Mimi and myself joined now by the coach of Old DU, who won it all last year, Marianne Stanley. Marianne, your assessment of the first minutes of the game.
I'd say right now Texas looks like a veteran team that's very relaxed. They feel like they're in their groove right now. On the other hand, USC appears to be a little bit tentative. There's a lot of one-on-one action going on out there, and I think they need to settle down and play some team basketball.
You know, you might expect to contrast that because Texas has had so much pressure on it being the #1 ranked team.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been in this position before, and I think they're relaxed because they got through that regional final, and they're here now.
Now, early in the game, they put Cheryl Miller as best they can on Beverly Williams. Were you surprised by that defensive move?
I was surprised by it, and also I noticed that within 3 minutes, they switched Miller and took her away off of Beverly Williams and matched her up inside, and that's critical because they need her rebounding, and she cannot rebound from the perimeter as well.
Cynthia Cooper there is whistled down for the foul. That is her first. While we were away a while ago, Annette Smith had committed her second foul for Texas. And so I would imagine a year ago you had some butterflies in your stomach if you're in this championship game.
I'll tell you, these two teams are keyed up right now. I think the nervousness is over. They're going to settle down and just play good basketball.
Mary Ann Stanley, the coach of Old Dominion. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Gary.
14-11 a count here. Mimi Griffin and Gary Bender with Texas leading, and I thought that was exactly what was happening to USC. They looked just a little hairy, didn't they?
That was a good thought by Mary Ann Stanley. The comfort factor here for Texas is key. They were not comfortable in a semifinal game. Unless they are comfortable tonight, they will not beat this USC team.
Well, Cooper now has cut it to 1 after that last break in the action. It looks like USC has settled down considerably. Tammy Etheridge will kick it off to Fran Harris. Trying to shake loose inside is Clarissa Davis, who checked in after that last break. Here's Etheridge trying one. Davis, there she is, the freshman. She is something.
She is contributing already in this game, and this is exactly what Jody Conrad expects from her, some instant contributions.
This is the championship game. Rupp Arena, Lexington, Kentucky. 13:25 to go in the first half. Texas by 3. USC trying to win their third title in 4 years. Texas, their first ever, the top-ranked team in the country. I'm Gary Bender along with Mimi Griffin. Glad to have you with us on this Easter Sunday. Sherry Nelson, the freshman. The basket will count, and she is fouled.
An interesting point here is that USC is also going right to the inside on Texas. They're also trying to establish their inside game. These two teams are so similar that this game is going to be a toss-up till the end. Here you can see Sherry Nelson going right around with the dribble and up for a strong basket. That's where she has been so helpful, this USC team. She's the most improved in the position where they've needed the most improvement.
They are physical, and one of the reasons is Sherry Nelson. She's so competitive in that pivot spot, and she has made a three-point play and has tied this ball game up at 16. Here comes Clarissa Davis, 32 points the other night to go along with an outstanding rebounding effort. The turnover, here comes Cheryl Miller. Miller kicks it out to Wyndham. Etheridge trying to stay with Wyndham, and those 2 point guards will be going at it all afternoon long. Inside it goes to Cheryl Miller. Miller posting up, quick change, and she gets it.
Annette Smith is going to have a long night, Gary. She is a little bit slower because of that knee and cannot keep up with the quickness of Cheryl Miller.
There's Clarissa Davis. I know Jody Conrad was concerned about how a freshman would react to the pressure. I don't think it's bothering her at all.
Not at all. We're going to see this match seesaw back and forth at least for this first half.
When you start talking about the prototype players of the future, it's Clarissa Davis. Linda Sharp right now with her team down or tied at 18 will inbounds. Up it comes to Holly Ford. Steal from behind by Cammie Etheridge. Cammie out of Lubbock, Monterey High School. Picks it off to Beverly Williams. Texas hasn't made that many substitutions, but they can go very deep on their bench.
But depth isn't valuable unless you use it, Gary.
And there's a charge on Beverly Williams. Let's go back now and watch the premier player in women's basketball.
This is what makes her such a strong player. She posts up low very well. And look at the double pump fake to get around her defender and in. She's so talented. I mean, she's the #1 player. What more can you say about her?
The coach, Linda Sharp, said that she's always intense. He's never had to talk to her about being ready for a basketball game. Wyndham into Holly Ford, and we're going to have a jump ball, and as opposed to the men where you have an alternating possession, they jump it up. At the conclusion of this NCAA Women's Basketball Championship game, we'll be selecting a Chevrolet Most Valuable Player from each team, and Chevrolet donates a $1,000 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of each school to further assist qualified students in all chosen academic fields. And out it comes to Cheryl Miller. 18 all, 11:53 to go in the first half. Holly Ford stripped to the ball by Etheridge. Etheridge with Cooper on her back. She protected the ball, but she missed the shot, but rebounds the miss. Nope, she was out of bounds. Etheridge had the right idea, Mimi. She was trying to keep her body between the defender and the ball, but she missed the shot. It was an end result.
She did a great job there, Gary. Look at the way she keeps moving over in front of Cooper trying to protect the ball. The unfortunate part is she fell away from the basket and ended up short on her shot.
Cynthia Cooper brings it down. Boy, what chemistry Cooper and Wyndham had. They just seem to know instinctively what each other is doing. They've played together for so long in that backcourt. Inside it goes to Cooper. And Cooper doesn't get the roll, and Clarissa Davis is there, and that's certainly no surprise. The way she can rebound, she had 18 rebounds Friday night.
One of the interesting things to watch as this game goes on is to see which of these teams is more effective in their half-court games. That's going to be one of the keys. They both can run well, but who can shoot well from their half-court game?
And Clarissa Davis picking up the foul. Let's watch it, see what happened here off the ball. And this will be her second foul and the elbow, and they're going to allow that, I guess, to happen. Now, wait a minute. We have a double foul here. They're going to jump it up at center circle. There's the stats on Clarissa from Friday night and the performance that she put on.
That's an incredible statistic. The points, the rebounds, everything. The whole entire game for a freshman in a semifinal national championship game.
The other foul went on Nelson, so it was a double foul between Nelson and Davis, and they're just establishing control, the two officials, in the early going of this game.
They just want to introduce themselves to one another early on, Gary.
Now, these two met on December 10th. I think they know each other pretty well, don't you? Now, here in the ball game is Yolanda Wimbish, number 34. She has been an energizer for this team in the estimation of Coach Conrad. She comes in and gives them an instant offense.
One thing that Yolanda has to be careful of, though, is she tries too hard too early, and you can see her fumble the pass early on. Once she gets into the flow, she'll be more comfortable.
Clarissa Davis is off to a big afternoon. Already 8 points. Texas by 2. Intended for Miller, and Annette Smith coming over the back has committed the foul.
That's a key call because Annette Smith had position there. She saw the pass, anticipated it. Annette is going to handle Cheryl all day as long as she's in the game.
That bench scoring is all represented by Davis. All 8 points.
That looks like a replay of Friday night's game.
That foul, by the way, on Smith was his third, so Jody Conrad has to be very concerned as Cheryl Miller will go to the free throw line. There is Miller able to connect. Jody is very upset about the way this game is being called. I think it started Friday night. There were a lot of real inconsistency, especially on the charging call.
That's true. And right now, I think they're calling it awfully close for a championship game. They're normally told to let these players play. And if there's no harm, no fouling. And I think they're calling it close right now.
Well, let me tell you, it's a problem not peculiar to women. We've seen this in the men's division as well. It's 20 apiece as Wyndham bats it out of bounds, and Texas now will move it in. And speaking of men's basketball, of course, the championship game Monday night, Duke against Louisville. Into the ball game now is Gay Hemphill, number 22, a senior out of Plainview, Texas, playing with a specially designed back brace. She's had a lot of difficulty with her back. And over the back is Fran Harris. She tips it out, and USC will have it. There is Gay Hemphill. She came in Friday night, had 2 excellent early baskets. But that brace, I guess as she falls down, she has a tough time getting up off the floor.
She does. She hurt that about mid-season and sat out quite a few games, but is back, and as you called her, an energizer for this team. She gets instant offense for them.
It's 20 apiece as we approach 10 minutes to go in the first half. Cooper saves it into Holly Ford, whose brother Don played for the Los Angeles Lakers for many years. And Cheryl Miller is fouled again, and Jody is concerned about the foul difficulty. Committing that foul is Gay Hemphill, who had just checked into the ball game. So all of a sudden now you see Texas is going to have to use that depth. Their foul difficulty is starting to mount.
They are going to have to use the depth, and you can see here that she really did anticipate the pass well. The thing is that they're going to have to both front and play behind Cheryl Miller because she's just that good. Right now, denying her is not working. Let's try putting 2 players on her instead of just 1.
So Cheryl Miller able to connect from the free throw line. This year shooting 73%. She's over 3,000 points in her career. Let's watch her now off the ball.
Look how physical she is. Look at the pushing that goes on. That's the kind of abuse she's taken all season. It's a wonder she can walk in this game.
Well, she had 4 stitches over her eye, a concussion, a sprained neck, and now a broken finger. I don't think there's any part of her that hasn't been beaten up at one time. And Jody Conrad is really working on the officials. Their team is getting into some foul difficulty, now trailing by 2. Etheridge, the point guard, against Wyndham.
USC is still in that pressure man-to-man defense, which has been very effective for them.
Here is Hemphill, and she shuffled her feet. She walked to the ball. That basket will not count.
Gary, you've noticed a definite shift in momentum here. Texas is making some slight mental errors, and USC has picked up the ball and run with it.
And so after a shaky beginning, USC now has taken a 2-point lead.
Bosses don't believe there's a difference between memory writers from Xerox and typewriters from you-know-who. Ha!
bosses. Begin.
Both correct errors and censor automatically, but memory writers have bold-faced, automatic table setup, and outstanding touch and feel. They're also quiet and much easier to learn and use. So, perfect documents are a snap.
Take a long lunch.
For perfect documents every time. Call Team Xerox.
This is today's Chevrolet Camaro.
Saturday night, USA, heartbeat moving down to play. Camaro's waiting for you. Lead me, V8 Chevrolet. Big night history, go our way. Street Camaro new. Saturday night, USA, streets and highway Chevrolet. Drive today, Chevy. Live today, Chevy. Camaro.
The Tournament Players Championship continues on CBS Sports. Next.
USC by 2 in this championship game from Rupp Arena. And following this, the TPC final round coverage. Yesterday was very windy, and there were a lot of golf balls that were finding the water. But look what Larry Mize was able to do. Minus 16, a happy 12 under. Murphy, Simpson, and Kite. Outstanding leaderboard as we go into the final round of the TPC. That's to follow this one. USC with a delegation here, and of course, you think of USC, you think of the pom-poms, you think of the band, and they're all here, and it's a very enthusiastic crowd. Seen right now a 2-point game with the women of Troy leading.
This is not unusual for a team to hang with Texas early on. It's the pressure that Texas puts on you throughout the game that wears you down in the second half.
Jerry Nelson was forced away by Davis and took a very difficult shot at best. The break comes down, and a fine running one-hander that time by Wimbish. Yolanda Wimbish, sophomore out of Victoria, Texas. She's the only left-hander in this game, and that was a very pretty shot. 22 apiece, and here's a foul on Hemphill. That'll be her second.
Gary, they are really calling this game tight, and I think that's going to have a big effect on Texas. Although they do have the depth and they can keep running players in and out, if they can't establish their game because of the tight fouls, it's not going to help them at all.
Here is quite a shooter, Taryn Howell. She is a freshman out of Portland, 2 times the Portland Player of the Year in high school, and she has a great future ahead of her. She's been playing very well in the big games for Linda Sharp. She had 14 points on Friday as Wyndham goes to the line. Out of John F. Kennedy High School in the Bronx, she is the floor general, make no mistake about it, USC's all-time assist leader. And she gets a roll.
Gary, she also had what was going to be considered a debilitating knee injury at the sports festival. She fell and tore every ligament in her knee. The doctors told her she wouldn't be able to walk correctly again, much less play basketball.
Well, we have a lot of that in this game. Annette Smith, we can develop that story later. USC now missing their first free throw. They were 9 of 10 before that. 23-22, the women of Troy.
Texas is getting very sloppy on their passes. They're not moving to meet the pass, and the pass is not on the mark. They've got to clean that up.
You saw a moment ago, Texas has committed 10 fouls to USC's 4. Howell trying to stay with the outside part of this game. Fran Harris, rebound, Wimpish, she lost it, and we're going to have a traveling call.
I think Coach Linda Sharp of USC is making a smart move right now, staying in that man-to-man, because Texas has seen zones all season, and that's what they're used to playing against in their half-court offense. They're not so used to this man-to-man pressure defense.
June Courteau and Bob Olson, the 2 officials in this game. There was a big debate by the television committee as to who should officiate this game, and right now the 2 coaches are not letting them feel that they're very comfortable or doing a very good job. There's a feed inside to Miller, and there is the kind of move you expect from her, but it doesn't go. Hemphill brings it down, stripped away, and regained by the Lady Longhorns. Etheridge looking inside. Davis, good catch, and she's fouled. That was a difficult catch at best, as a foul will go on Cooper.
Cooper's looking towards the other ref. She thought June Courteau was going to call it on Clarissa Davis.
But it's Cooper and her second personal foul, 15 foul now against USC. And so to the line for the first time goes Texas and Clarissa Davis. Clarissa's from San Antonio, John Jay High School. Southwest Conference Newcomer of the Year. In one poll out of Shreveport, Louisiana, they called her the best freshman in the country.
That earlier graphic, Gary, was very telling. This is the first time Texas has been to the line. USC has been to the line 10 times. The calls definitely aren't going Texas's way right now.
But as you said, Texas probably can hang in there better than USC because of their depth. Davis now with 9 points, 4 rebounds.
An interesting statistic also is that 9 of their 23 points, USC's, have been from the line.
23 all at the 8:16 mark of this first half. Tipped up by Wimbish, but Holly Ford comes up with it. There's the matchup, Davis and Miller. And right now, Davis the 1 point the better. Larissa Davis and Cheryl Miller, a senior and a freshman. Here's Holly Ford. She's kind of the secret weapon in the estimation of Linda Sharp.
She's an excellent perimeter shooter.
We've got a technical foul coming up. And it's going to go, I believe, on Jody Conrad. We told you she was working the officials, and she stepped across that line, and all of a sudden she's got the technical. The National Coach of the Year, the winningest female coach in America, and she picks up the tee. Cheryl Miller will shoot the free throw. She is still after June Courteau as Miller hits it. Now, in women's basketball, you only have 1 technical free throw as opposed to 2 in the men's. Jody's getting her money's worth on this technical.
Gary, I think Jody Conrad probably did that on purpose. She needs to fire her team up, but she also wants to work these officials and make them start calling it her way later on in the game.
Right now, it's going USC's way. They lead by 3. Cheryl Miller trying to take Hemphill into the pick, and she did. Rebound, Clarissa Davis. Is she something? You keep forgetting she's a freshman. She's 6'1". And there's a steal attempt by Cheryl Miller. That's what Miller will do, is she'll play both ends of the floor. Some of your superstars, you got to convince them to play defense, not Cheryl.
No, Cheryl is so intense on both ends, and she's so physically talented. She has no limitations on either end.
It comes into Davis. This is for the national title. USC seeking the 3rd in 4 years of a 3-point lead over top-ranked Texas. Hemphill. Get it in that low. It's pretty hard to stop her.
She has a great turnaround move, just as we saw there. She gets instant offense for them, and Jody says on a lot of jump shots, on missed shots and putbacks.
Howell turned the ball over, and Wimpish hits at instant offense now of 4 points by Wimpish. She's hit 2 leaning left-handers. And all of a sudden, Texas has a 1-point lead. Holly Ford to Wyndham, and she'll bring it out.
Smart move by Rhonda Wyndham. She realized she had a player on her. Let's bring the rest of her players down, set up our half-court offense.
The Trojans of USC winning it in 83-84. And it goes to Sherry Nelson. Good inside move. She spun around Davis very effectively.
One thing I was surprised to see there, she normally doesn't go left because her left hand is not that strong, but that was a good move.
Nelson with 5 and Davis at the other end. Nelson rips it down. The 2 freshmen going after each other now. You can see Texas getting the better of the bench scoring, obviously, and most of that is Davis. Here's Nelson, and Nelson had it stripped away as Fran Harris reached in. It'll be USC's basketball.
That was an example of their great help defense, Texas's great help defense. Fran Harris came from the weak side and slapped that away from Nelson.
Substitutions, Andrea Lloyd coming back in. Beverly Williams is checking in. And for the first time, Kara Pretty, a 6'2 senior out of Kirtland, New Mexico, number 44 in the game. And she is very tough defensively.
She is their defensive specialist. She's in there to stop Sherry Nelson. She's had a couple good baskets for them. Jody Conrad does not want her getting any more.
Tried to skip pass across that defense, and USC, fortunately, will get it back. There is Pretty, the one you were just talking about. She came in the other night, and she's just a banger inside. She is really tough.
Now, this is what we were talking about earlier. She's got to deny. Kara Pretty has to deny Sherry Nelson the ball, and that's what she did there.
Out of Kirtland, New Mexico, as now Etheridge will kick it into Andrea Lloyd, and Miller trying to get the charge on Andrea Lloyd.
She's taking acting classes, and you can see right there they're paying off.
Well, she's from Los Angeles. What do you expect? Nice move that time by Harris. And Fran Harris has 8 points, and Texas has a 1-point lead. The rebounding, Texas with the advantage, and that's something that Jody Conrad talked about as key. She said we've had to improve our rebounding this year, and they have. As an end result, they're 33-0.
Whoever is on Miller at this point has one thing in mind. They want to keep her off the offensive board. They're not going to go after rebound themselves. They're going to keep her from getting the rebound.
And on her now is Andrea Lloyd, and away from the ball is a foul, and it's going to go on Fran Harris. There is Lloyd. Lloyd, with a bad knee and all, had to have that knee drained on Tuesday. She has been, in the estimation of Jody Conrad, really the best all-around player. She's so versatile. She can do so much. And now she's trying to wear Cheryl Miller down a little bit.
Gary, I think she looks more fluid in this afternoon's game than we saw her Friday night. She just didn't get into the game flow. But this afternoon she is.
She went to Moscow, Idaho to school, but her parents now live in Sitka, Alaska. So
long way from home.
It's a long ways from home. Karen Howell at the line. And Bob Olson spots a foul. A pushing off foul is going to go against Pretty of Texas. And I got to tell you, they are calling them close. And Jody, who got a technical earlier, may get another one if this continues.
She's looking for answers. This is a case where depth doesn't help you at all, Gary, because if the referee's going to call it this close, it doesn't matter who's in there.
So Pretty committing the personal foul. That's her first personal foul as Miller will go to the line. Well, this USC team, they like to play physical. I think they bring some of that out on you. They seemingly retaliate very well. And when you have intense people like Cheryl Miller on your team, you can't play it any other way as she gets a roll. First woman basketball player ever nominated for the Sullivan Award. Cheryl Miller out of Riverside Folly. And of course, her brother Reggie Miller playing at UCLA. Quite a family,
I think it would be easier to talk about the awards or recognition she hasn't accomplished than the one she has.
It's been something. 30-29. Miller in this game is 9 of 9 from the free throw line. You said it earlier, USC really staying in this with the free throw shooting. Here's Lloyd trying to retrieve it, and she doesn't get the roll. Pretty follows. She's got the basket, and she's fouled, and Cheryl Miller has committed the foul.
Look at the emotion on Cara Pretty's face. She's not in there as an offensive threat, Gary. She's in there as a defensive threat. If she can spark this team offensively, that's a bonus for Texas and something they need right now.
So the second foul on Cheryl Miller as Pretty will go to the line with a chance for a three-point play.
You saw in that replay just how physical she is on the offensive boards.
And she gets a three-point play, and Texas gets a two-point advantage. Fast-paced game, baseline to baseline, as expected. The two teams that everybody thought might be here playing in this championship game, they felt it was a dream matchup. Into the game now is Paula Pyers, a sophomore out of Tucson, number 13, coming in and giving him some relief in the backcourt.
She is not as experienced as Rhonda Wyndham, and this might be a chance for Texas to really pressure them and cause some turnovers.
Etheridge had the steal. Then they say Pyers touched it last, went over the end line, so Texas will have it. And we have a break with 4:45 to go in this championship game. Seesaw affair, and the Lady Longhorns lead it.
The new 1986 Cadillac Cimarron. There really are two ways to look at it. Some people like it for all the luxury they get. Standard, push-button air, tilt wheel, cruise, power just about everything. Or it's available with more pizzazz, even more power. Either way, 1986 Cimarron people have one thing in common.
Best of all, it's a Cadillac.
Well, maybe two things in common.
Delta flies to the heart of Europe. London.
Why, hello, Delta.
Paris.
Bonjour, Delta.
Frankfurt, Munich, and Stuttgart.
Guten Tag, Delta.
And Shannon, Ireland.
100,000 welcomes, Delta.
6 gateways to all of the heritage, tradition, and pride of Europe. All as close as a Delta jet. Europe. Delta gets you there.
32-30, Texas, who has scored 12 of those 30, I should say USC has scored 12 of those 30 points from the free throw line. And this is the home of championship basketball tomorrow night. Louisville, Duke from Reunion Arena. LSU starting out with John Williams playing so effectively, had an 8-point lead at halftime, and Dale Brown thought maybe Cinderella was going to continue. But then you saw that stuff by Purvis Ellison, and into the championship game goes Denny Crum, who won it all in 1980. So don't forget, Monday night from Reunion Arena. Duke, Louisville for the national championship. And the women's national title being decided right now with 4:39 to go in this first half. Beverly Williams on a spin move and a beautiful shot, and it's a 4-point lead for Texas.
Gary, there's that offensive spark we spoke about at the beginning of the game. Beverly Williams came in right from that timeout without any hesitation. Spin dribble move and right to the basket.
See, Wyndham is back in. They had Pyers in there very briefly, but Wyndham comes back in after that timeout. Inside it goes to Cynthia Cooper, and rebounded Nelson, and Nelson doesn't get it either. And another foul, and it's going to go against USC.
Gary, right now I think what USC has got to start concentrating on is better half-court offense. Their points have come from the foul line and a little bit of half-court offense and some transition, whereas Texas, the majority of their points, I believe they only have 2 from the line. Their transition game's working, their half-court game is working, which is going to be very important come the second half.
Well, Sherry Nelson committed her 3rd foul, so you see into the ball game for the first time Jemiah Bond, a senior out of Chicago. As we mentioned, Texas with 2 points from the line. They're 2 of 3. As Pretty will go there with a 1-and-1. So Nelson in foul difficulty for USC. There she is, the freshman. Sitting down. I thought she was playing extremely well, and Linda Sharp obviously doesn't want her sitting alongside her right now.
Well, with the foul situation, she can't afford not to have her in the second half. The good thing about Jemiah Bond coming in, she adds some height and good defensive ability. The bad thing is that she's not very good on offense in terms of scoring threat. So USC's going to have to pick up the slack with their other members.
Bond is 6'5". At halftime, we'll be taking a look at a team that really started putting women's basketball on the map. Immaculata College, the tradition they established back in the 70s. That will be one of our halftime features. 36-30. Baseline, Pretty comes up with another steal.
And Kara Pretty's doing exactly what Jody Conrad wants her to do. Give them a defensive lift in this game.
Inside, Wimpish. And it's going to be a charge on Wimpish as the fouls continue to mount up. Miller drawing the foul. It'll be the first on Wimpish. Let's look at it again.
Here's Andy Lloyd coming down, dishing off, and Wimpish does push right off there. She just needed to drive the baseline without that extra arm power.
36-30 Texas. 3.5 minutes to go in the first half. Miller, by the way, is only 1 of 4 from the field. Her scoring has been coming from the free throw line. Wyndham looking inside, and out it comes to Cooper. Good defense by Texas. This is a tough shot at best by Miller. Etheridge up to Andrea Lloyd, and she is moving on the floor better than she did Friday night. But here comes the steal by Miller. 2-on-1 break, and Miller will take it in, and Etheridge made her miss the shot. She was set very well underneath the basket.
Great defensive move by Cammie Etheridge. She faked to the weak side player, believing that Cheryl was going to dish off, but then came back and established her position.
Still a 6-point lead by the Lady Longhorns. Bond reaching in on Pretty. Etheridge creating things. Pretty, as an end result, has an easy 2. That's Etheridge at her best.
This is a tremendous bonus for this Texas team. Kara Pretty scoring, Cammie Etheridge driving the baseline and jumping off.
USC got off to a shaky start. Then they were able to take the lead. Now find themselves trailing by 8, the biggest lead of the game. Holly Ford and Etheridge, smallest player for Texas, comes up with a rebound. Here she goes. Gives it off to Wimpish, and it's going to be off of USC. Let's go back to this play now on the break.
Here's the great transition game by USC, but look at Cammie Etheridge. Watch her fake over to run to Wyndham and then establish her position with Cheryl. Made her miss a shot. Didn't get the offensive, but did not get the 2 points either.
We're going to have a break now with 2:08 left to go in this first half, as Texas right now is on somewhat of a roll. Top-ranked team in the country, leading it by 8. USC asking for the timeout. Etheridge, by the way, you were talking about her defensive effort. And she has not scored, but she has 8 assists and 5 rebounds. And that shows you how she can contribute to the Lady Longhorns.
Those 8 assists are normally approximately what she averages for an entire game, not a first half, Gary. I think what's happening right now is USC's shot selection is very poor. They're not taking shots they want to take. This offense is designed for one-on-one movement, but they're trying to shoot over the defense too much. Be a little more creative, open some things up with a penetration dribble or some passing.
We talked about the assists of Cammie Etheridge, 8 assists. Here is the last one.
Look, you could see her pointing the finger, directing traffic on the floor as she dumps off to Yolanda Wimbish underneath. Yolanda didn't need that dribble. She should have gone right up with the basket, and she could probably have gotten at least a foul on that.
I get the feeling it's kind of a rhythm problem for USC. They get behind and they try to hurry it up, and they're not stabilizing like they want to. And this is a veteran ball club. They should be able to do a better job in that.
You know what, Gary? This USC team reminds me of the Texas team last year. Their one weak link was their half-court offense. They were so good and relied so heavily on their transition game that their half-court offense suffered. And I think that's what's happening with USC this afternoon.
USC, when they have led at half this year, have been 28-1. But right now, with 2:08 left until half, they're down by 8. Cheryl has committed 2 fouls. She's 1 of 5 from the field. And I think she's forced some shots.
She definitely has forced some shots, especially from the top of the key where she's shooting right over people. She's too talented to do something like that, and the USC team needs her to be more selective in her shots.
Imagine the pressure she must have, her final appearance, wanting desperately to win it after last year not even getting into the Final Four after freshman and sophomore championship season. So she wants to bow out in grand fashion, and sometimes you put some added pressure on yourself.
I think what's going to happen at halftime of this game, if she doesn't come alive before then, she'll get a chance to catch her breath and realize just where she is and what she needs to do.
And it goes. Wimpish, and she is fouled. Good inside pass that time by Texas. The foul will go on Bond, and that will be her first.
A good sign for Texas right now, Gary, is that although they're missing shots inside, Yolanda Wimbish is smiling. They're relaxed. They're all having fun, and they're playing their game.
Well, USC came in here, and interestingly enough, Thursday they practiced in floral shorts, and they have a little, what they call rap session. They do some dancing, and you might think they are the relaxed team, but it's not appearing that way on the floor now.
Sometimes you try to force relaxation so much with outside props that it doesn't help inside in the head where you need it the most.
That's a good point, Mimi. It really is. As at the line now is Wimpish, I should say. With a 39-30 lead, she misses the second free throw. Texas with their biggest advantage as we come to the final 2 minutes of this first half. Here's Miller trying to take Lloyd inside. She's got a screen from Bond and nails it.
Now that's the kind of shot that she's good. Off the dribble and into the air. Cheryl cannot shoot standing still. She needs a little bit of motion to make her effective offensively.
Here's Andrea Lloyd. Off to Etheridge. Etheridge penetrating so effectively. Off to Beverly Williams, and I tell you, she is something to watch. A little leaner there. 8 points for Beverly Williams.
That's offensive spark with a capital O, capital S.
Cheryl Miller now has her team trailing 41-32. She's looking for the shot, and there will be a foul on Andrea Lloyd.
One of the things that Texas is doing very well now that they didn't do earlier in the game is they're getting 2 players and sometimes 3 players on Cheryl when she goes into motion with that basketball.
Andrea Lloyd with her second personal foul, and Miller will go to the line. Cheryl has a brother who plays in the California Angels system with the Angels now, the parent ball club. She has another sister at home, Tammy, who's quite a volleyball player, and her father, Saul, is here. He was at the press conference yesterday, so long ways from home, but enjoying it here in Lexington.
That earlier graphic showed us that Cheryl only has 1 rebound. I think that has to be a record for her for one half to have 1 rebound. It shows that Texas is very effective in their game plan of their or defensive player who is guarding Cheryl, keeping her off the boards. It's working.
I'll tell you what they're not doing, though. They're not keeping her off the free throw line.
No,
she's 11 of 11 now from the free throw line. 41-34. So she's hurting them in other ways, but USC still not really putting it together. Here is Pretty, and Pretty is fouled, and it's going to go on Bond, and that'll be her second.
Gary, one thing I've noticed here, things have definitely changed since Jody Conrad got that technical foul. Is that a smart move or what? This is really turning into Texas's favor here because there have not been such quick whistles.
Tell you what, I wouldn't want her mad at me. I think she got those officials' attention in a hurry, and it's a good point. You've got to work the officials. The best coaches in the business do it, and she's done it. 2-on-1, Miller pulling up. And rebounded by Pretty. And again, Pretty has been the big surprise in this first half for Texas. 41-34. Lloyd on the move. And as she ducks in, the basket will go, and we're going to have a blocking foul.
Look at that move. Andy Lloyd is into this game. She is loose, relaxed. She's running the transition game much better than she did Friday night. Look at this move inside, scoop shot, and the roll.
Now, Jody Conrad is up on the officials. I don't think they knew the basket went in. Now, there they do, and they're counting it now. The foul is on Holly Ford, the blocking foul. And Jody got their attention from clear at the other end of the floor. She wanted the 2 points and a chance for a three-point play. So, Lloyd at the line. USC, by the way, scored one field goal in the last 5.5 minutes.
It's the foul line that's keeping them in the game at all.
44-34, 10-point lead for the Lady Longhorns. Karen Howell brings it up. Miller ducking in. Pretty cuts her off at the baseline. Tough shot. And the foul will go on Pretty as she comes across on Cheryl. But again, Cheryl is not getting any easy shots. 25. That foul is going to go instead against Andrea Lloyd. And that will be her second as Miller goes to the line.
I think the rule of verticality should have come into play there. It seemed to me that Andy Lloyd had her position and Cheryl leaned in, which Cheryl does so well. In most instances, she's able to get the basket as well as the foul shot because of the way she leans.
Lloyd will leave with 3 fouls as Hemphill comes back into the ball. Oh, check that. C.J. Jones is checked into the game. Sophomore out of Las Vegas. Some of that depth that Coach Conrad has. 39 seconds left in this first half. As Miller now 12 of 12 from the line. There's Lloyd.
She's got a much nicer expression on her face this afternoon than she did Friday night.
That's the first miss by the girl they call CM. 44-35. You see the time left in the first half. And inside, another foul. Holly Ford reaching around, and that will be her second foul.
That was an example of great offensive positioning by a young player. She pinned her defender on her back and had the whole key to operating.
At halftime, we'll be looking at some of the outstanding players in women's basketball. Feature on Immaculata College. Very interesting story. I think many people may have forgotten the outstanding school located on the suburbs or the outskirts of Philadelphia.
Anyone who's interested in women's basketball, Gary, will not ever forget Immaculata College.
Let's go back to this last foul by Holly Ford.
Look at the way C.J. pins Holly Ford on her back, and she's got all that room inside the key to operate. An easy shot, and draws the foul as well.
C.J. Jones gets 1 of 2 from the line, and Ford comes down with a rebound. 45-35. USC would like to get inside that 10-point deficit before this first half ends. Wyndham taking Etheridge inside. Beautiful play, but she can't get the shot to drop. We're going to have a held ball, and this is going to be a mismatch. Wyndham at 5'5", and Kara Pretty, on the other hand, is listed at 6'2".
I can't say enough about Kara Pretty. She has really turned this first half around for Texas when they needed it. She came in with some key rebounds, some key defensive maneuvers, and some key baskets.
USC's made some good moves inside, but the ball just not going. And Rhonda Wyndham's last shot, very indicative of that. And she did a pretty good job on this jump, but Beverly Williams comes up with it. 7 seconds. Pretty trying to come up, and we have another jump ball, this time with 2 seconds. And so the former parade All-American from Kirtland, New Mexico will go up against the best Cheryl Miller. 10-point lead for the Lady Longhorns. Howell with a desperation partially blocked. And we have come to the close of this first half in this title game. The score at halftime, the Lady Longhorns 45, the Women of Troy 35. CBS Sports coverage of the Women's NCAA